What's been, the training session like in the last few days as you kind of wrap up? Can you just tell us what that's been like?
Yeah, I think the atmosphere within the group has been amazing. It's been exciting, being able to travel all the way to Spain, get acclimated. Took a few days to kind of get going, but we're on this 4-day stretch of straight practice, and getting better each and every day with our tactics and the way we want to play. And I think that's the most important thing going into our first game at the Club World Cup. Obviously, fitness plays a huge part, so our game coming up is going to be really crucial for us to kind of feel good going into the game after 90 minutes under our belts.
Quick one. Have you had a scrimmage with anybody else outside of the club yet? Can you divulge that or not? You guys have any?
No, we've just played against each other, inter squads, and sometimes that's a little bit more difficult because everybody knows what we're doing, and so if we're able to, play the way we want to play, apply those principles with the opposing team knowing exactly what we're doing, it becomes tough. So it's been great to challenge ourselves and compete against each other. And look, at the end of the day, the guys that might not play or might be on the bench are competing for starting spots, and I think that's why it's really nice to be able to play inter squads.
Thank you.
I'm seeing a few hands raised, which is totally fine. That's the preferred format, and my mistake. I know we've done it that way as well. So we'll stay with that for now. If you have a question, go ahead and get in the queue. I want to be respectful to everyone that wants to get one in. Daniel Feuerstein, I see you had yours raised first in my queue. Go ahead, please.
Well, thank you very much. Christian, congratulations, obviously, being over getting ready for this FIFA Club World Cup. What does it mean for you? Obviously, you represent the club and the city of Seattle when you play in MLS, but what does it mean not just to play for the league, for American soccer, but for the Confederation of CONCACAF as well, to be in this FIFA Club World Cup?
Yeah, I feel the same type of pride that I do when I head over with the national team. You have a responsibility, and that's to show that American soccer is more than capable to play at a world stage. And we saw that at the World Cup this year, and I'm fortunate and lucky to be part of that. But now I have another opportunity to show it at the club level, and it's important for myself, for that group, or for our group to go into this tournament with a great attitude and a willing mentality, because teams are tough, and teams are going to be difficult, and teams are in the season. So we have to be prepared to play really well to show that we're more than capable of hanging on at the world stage.
Okay, we'll stay in the queue here. Arch Bell, you're who I see next. Go ahead.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate that. Christian, I appreciate your time. I'm wondering, do you have any memories of watching past CONCACAF teams in this Club World Cup? Monterrey was there several times. Chivas was another team recently that played in it. Tigres, of course, made the final a couple of years ago. Just are there any memories or anything that you can think back, any recollections of CONCACAF teams playing in this tournament and things that stand out to you when you think about this Club World Cup?
Yeah, I think back to that Tigres team that made the final. I think they got a lot of notoriety after that tournament, and deservingly so. I thought they played really, really well. Obviously, they spent a lot of money on players, and they have a great franchise, a franchise that wants to win. And I see that in us as well, a franchise that always competes for trophies, and we want to have that same impact where we do well in the tournament and people respect us and look at the MLS in a different light. So, Tigres has done so well, and I've had the privilege of being able to compete against them, and they bring it, and that's the type of attitude that we need to bring as well.
Okay, Jeremiah O'Shan, I see you next. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Christian, you mentioned that you guys have mainly been playing inter-squad games, or only playing inter-squad games at this point. Do you feel like just playing one match? I realize you guys are playing 2 matches, but I assume everyone will only be able to play in one. Does that feel sufficient to get ready for a must-win game like this?
I think 4 weeks is extremely tough to be able to get fit in general. Not necessarily the one game, because I think we have been able to get minutes on a level that we could sustain, right? So it starts 30 minutes, 60 minutes, then you push it to 75, and then 90, and it's tough to find teams that will only play 30, 60 minutes. And so I think that's where it becomes tough. We're starting before everybody, but one competitive game will be just fine for us, as long as we're able to be able to play 90 minutes and be fit enough. But look, in a perfect world, I would love to be in the middle of the season and feeling great and fit. But the reality is, our game, we had 4 weeks to prepare for this game, and we're kind of playing the cards that we've been dealt, and that's kind of our mentality. We don't have any excuses going into this game.
Jada Evans, go ahead and ask your question, please.
Thanks. Thanks for taking the time, Christian. I wanted to ask to kind of get out of the way as far as the Providence situation. I wanted to know if, as players, y'all knew about that, some of the people being upset with that partnership, and if that was ever something that crossed the mind as far as in the locker room.
Yeah, I think as fans, they have every right to, acknowledge this, right? Because they're the best fans in the leagues. They deserve to have these opinions. And for us as players, we obviously don't make those decisions, but myself including, since 2015, I've been with the Sounders, and they've had great core values, and they've worked in the community really well. And for us, it's about, going back to those core values and trusting that the Sounders are going to do well.
All right. Tim Booth, I see you next. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Hey, Christian, you mentioned it a minute ago, but where do you think that lack of preseason time is likely to show up when you actually get out there in a game setting in a couple of weeks? Is it going to be fitness? Is it going to be just sharpness of passing and attack? Where do you think that's likely to potentially show up?
Yeah, both. I mean, fitness and rust, right? I mean, in front of goal is always the hardest place to find that bit of sharpness, and because we've only had 4 weeks, it's obviously going to be tough. But when that 60-minute, 75th minute hits, you'll see tired legs. Guys coming off the bench are going to be really important. And in front of goal, we're going to have to be as sharp as we can, right? It usually takes a couple months to kind of prepare and feel good about where you're at. But look, we have 4 weeks, and I think obviously rust will show, but I think we'll be just fine. We have that mentality that we don't have excuses, and that we've prepared for this moment.
Jackson Phelps, please go ahead and ask your question.
Hey, Christian. Going on the off the field sense right now, obviously you guys are in a really intense spot with 4 straight days of training and trying to gear up with these 4 weeks. But How are you guys able to, or are you guys even able to stay loose? Are you doing things off the field? You know, take us kind of behind the curtain in Marbella and how things are with you guys and mentally off the field as well.
Yeah, we had a trivia night yesterday, which included, different questions about, the world, pop culture, Sounders facts, MLS facts. So that's always fun to do. We'll have a dinner out, I think tomorrow or the next day after, which will be really nice. And we'll have a day off where guys can go golf or go check out the town, which is always great. But these last 5 days has been straight business, and I'm sure after our day off it'll be straight business again. But it's always tough to find that balance. But these next couple days after our game, it'll be important to kind of take our minds off soccer because we still have a long year to go.
All right, Rachel Krieger, thanks for waiting patiently. Over to you.
Thanks, Alex. Hey, Christian, how are you?
Doing great, thank you.
Good. Just wanted to, ask about, this is a new experience for everybody. Obviously, there's veterans on the team. You guys have been in playoffs, MLS Cups, you, Jordan, just coming back from the World Cup. But how are you guys kind of enjoying this with everybody on the same level as this is y'all's first ever Club World Cup? Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's important to acknowledge that it's all our first time, and that we all have to enjoy it together. Obviously we have guys that have played in big games, and for us it's treating it like it's another big game, right? And so that's where our experience comes in. But at the same time, I think that freshness, that idea that this is brand new to everyone, is really exciting and will be motivating for our team. And that's kind of the way we're all looking at it.
Jonathan Tannenwald, over to you. Good seeing you.
Good to see you too, Alex. Good to see you, Christian, from a long ways away. Think about, there's a moment right now where we're sort of watching growth and evolution of American soccer in real time and reaching higher levels, not just with the World Cup, but with the Club World Cup. You might have seen the news this morning about the Copa America in 2024 coming to the United States. How do you take in, as a player who obviously was in Qatar and now is at this Club World Cup, how do you sort of take in this all of a sudden accelerated growth happening in real time?
Yeah, I think as a player that has been part of the program for a long time, I could see this growth happening for quite some time. And people may feel like, oh, it's happening all of a sudden, but it's been in the works for 5 years. As soon as I saw guys like Weston and Tyler Adams come into the program, I knew that the future was going to be so bright. And now the fact that we have the World Cup and Copa America, and then to be able to represent MLS at a world stage, it's the path that we've been wanting this whole time, and it's the path that I've seen from day one. When Greg started, the program, and we hope that this path, continues in this way, and it increases, and we can be a powerhouse. But it's also important to temper expectations and see it grow organically.
If I can ask a quick follow-up, I know you weren't in the national team yet in 16 when the Copa America was here, including in Seattle, obviously. Did you go to any of those games, and what do you think it means for this 2026 cycle when there are no qualifiers, but now there's a sort of another North Star to point to and say, hey, there are big games along the way like that?
Yeah, it's important to have these really big games, right? To be able to not only play in friendlies, but now playing games that matter, right? And Copa America matters. Being able to play Argentina, Colombia, Brazil, Uruguay in big games is a big deal, and it's gonna bring a lot more experience to our guys. And that pressure of playing in these games is exactly what we need for our program, and I think it's a beautiful thing to have Copa America here again. And when I was able to attend in Seattle, I saw Messi play against Bolivia, and that was a completely different level than what I've seen. So being able to experience that firsthand was pretty incredible.
Thanks, man. Good luck out there.
Appreciate it.
Take a couple more for Cristian, knowing we need to slide in head coach Brian Schmetzer here shortly. We will go over to Casey Dunow next. Casey, thanks for waiting.
Hey, Cristian. We've talked a little bit about you're working on tactics heading into this and you don't have a huge run-up time. Does it give the team a little extra confidence, though, knowing that you're bringing back such a core group of players who have won with the Sounders before, you and Jordan signing new contracts, Ladero, Rudias, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. I talk about continuity all the time, and I think that the Sounders do an extremely good job of having that each and every year. The backbone, the spine of our team has been the same for quite some time. Of course, we add pieces here and there, but we see these guys stick around for 3 to 4 years, 5 years, and that's exactly what we need, and it's tough to do in our league. And so I hope that we can continue to have this continuity, because it really helps us gel together and helps us compete in these types of tournaments. And the guys are motivated at the same time, right? We've had 4 weeks to prepare, but each and every player put in the work in the off season to stay fit and have a good foundation to be able to work hard in these 4 weeks. So credit to the boys for doing so.
Thank you.
All right, we'll try to squeeze 1 or 2 more here, and yes, to answer questions in the chat, Cristian is able to answer in Spanish if that's something that media members would like. Omar Peralta, we will go to you next with Yahoo.
Hi, Cristian. In the final of the CONCACAF Champions League, Seattle defeat Pumas. Do you see the World Cup as an opportunity to show that MLS is the superior to the Mexican League?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think the MLS has shown a lot of growth, but I don't think that we're going to use this tournament to show that we're superior than the Mexican League. I think, that's a rivalry that will continue, and there will be a lot of debate over for a long time, and which is great, because both leagues are really good and they have different types of styles and formats. And so I think we're going to use this tournament more so to show that, the MLS is more than capable of competing at the world stage. And, we believe that Liga MX is a great league, and, we'll see that rivalry kind of grow in Leagues Cup. But we'll be using the Club World Cup to be able to show what MLS is about.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take 1 more for Cristian so we can get to Brian Schmetzer. Again, for those of you that didn't get questions in, I apologize. We just have a time constraint. Please keep your hands raised if you'd like to ask a question of Brian. But for now, we'll close on Cristian with Felipe Maqueda. Felipe, go ahead.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Cristian. Mi pregunta para ti es, cuando llegaron a la final de la CONCACAF, le ganaron a Pumas, empezaron un torneo sin mucha competencia, en realidad sin competencia, llegan a este torneo de la misma forma, sin competencia. En tu opinión, ¿crees que vuelva a suceder lo que sucedió en la final de la CONCACAF, que ustedes pudieran llegar a la final, tomando en cuenta el grupo de jugadores que tienen y la preparación que están teniendo?
Para mí sí es posible, 100%. Los jugadores llegaron muy bien físicamente y eso nos da el mejor oportunidad de hacer bien en el torneo. Y bueno, sí, va a haber momentos que no estamos 100% o fallamos un gol porque tal vez no tenemos mucha competencia antes del torneo, pero eso es parte de ser un futbolista. Tenés que recuperar en cualquier momento o mejorar en cualquier momento, y pues para nosotros es cómo le podemos ganar a cualquier equipo en un partido. No estamos hablando de una jornada o ganar en 2 partidos. Solamente tenemos que ganar en un partido 90 minutos, y para nosotros esa es la mentalidad.
Cristian, thank you very much for your time. Media, for those who would like translation of that last answer, please see our staff and we can have that done for you. Cristian, we're going to let you go here. Thank you very much again, and we'll talk to you, I'm sure, very soon.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.